So today we're sitting down with Tristan and we're going to deep dive everything World Cup ahead of a historic summer of soccer. Tristan, thanks for joining me today.
No problem.
Let's jump right in. Walk me through how you got introduced to football and your earliest memories around the sport.
Oh, wow. Probably when I was, 4 or 5 years old, my father put me obviously in just some house league soccer. And then I think that's kind of where the love that I had for the game started. Just growing up, I was always around sports in general. Most people know that I grew up in a big American football household, but I ended up being pretty good at soccer to a point where my father kept me in it. And obviously, once you start to get to an age where you think, you can actually make something of it, that's when I started to take it more and more serious. But yeah, I've been playing since I was 4 years old.
Awesome. And can you share a little bit more about this journey with me in terms of clubs you started with and what the progression looked like all the way up until now?
Yeah. Like I said, just first time playing soccer, obviously with the house league team, just in the area that I grew up with, Vaughan. First team I played for was Vaughan. Now, how many years I played, I don't remember exactly. From Vaughan, played a little bit in Kleinberg. After Kleinberg, a couple years with West Toronto, which I would say is when I started to take it a little bit more serious. Our team was pretty good, playing for, going to nationals and things like that. So had a couple of years there, 1 year with Toronto FC, and then that's when I went overseas to go play in Holland S16.
Awesome. So you mentioned that's when it sort of felt like it started to get serious. Is that the first time you really, truly considered a career as a professional football player?
Yeah, I think so. I think my parents like to remind me that I was never the biggest school kind of kid growing up. I woke up very energetic. I was always a happy kid, when I was young, but I find that I was really happy when I was playing sports, and obviously soccer was one of them. Yeah. I mean, for me, going to school, I would always just think about playing with my friends, playing at recess, when I was in elementary school. And then obviously in high school, my father didn't really want me to be playing for the school team because he didn't want me to get injured. But, for me, it was my life just revolved around playing soccer. And I think once I started to, have that understanding where maybe this is a career that I can have, and obviously being able to do something for your life that you enjoy is something that's rare. I don't take that for granted, but it's obviously been a very blessed life that I've been able to live. And, obviously, it's all credit to, my father, my family supporting me. But yeah, it's been a lot of years of just playing and honestly putting soccer before anything else. So, it's an exciting time coming up in the future, but hopefully many more years still to play.
And how would you say growing up in Canada and playing here, starting off your career, impacted your journey? Because I feel like a lot of people think that you have to be over in Europe and South America to really kickstart that career. So how was your experience?
Yeah, I think me growing up, and I would even say the guys are a little bit older than myself. It was a little bit different than it is now, right? I think being able to find a professional environment when I was growing up was a little bit more tough. Obviously, you just either had the MLS teams, and outside of that, it was either you're going to be going to Europe or you're going to be going to university in the States, right? So it was a little bit kind of a different kind of idea growing up of what's your process of trying to become a pro player. Obviously, my parents also being Portuguese, just having a little bit of that European background. It was always in the back of their minds, especially my father, just if the opportunity is there to go overseas, to go play in Portugal, which was the initial one for my first time going overseas. It was it's a little bit different than it is now, and I think that's been a great thing of what the CPL has been able to produce and give a lot of players a different kind of mindset growing up and thinking of what being a pro actually is, right? So I think myself included, just seeing what soccer has been able, or how it's been able to grow, has been fantastic. I think giving different avenues, different ways to becoming a pro is obviously important, and I think it shows players that there's a lot of love, a lot of passion that there is in this sport, and I think Canada is now starting to kind of get into that and understand what it's like to be playing, soccer. We say soccer, but football in other countries, because it really is. It's just life, in a lot of other countries. And I think we're in the right direction. I think the CPL has been, amazing. At the start of it, and you look at the players that has already been able to showcase, and for myself included, I think it's been something special. It's been a different, we'll say, upbringing for myself, coming up and playing here in Canada. But I think, the future is very bright.
Keeping on track with Canada, you obviously had some opportunities to represent the country at various points in your playing career. So can you talk to me a little bit more about the opportunity and what it was like getting that first call up and all of that?
Yeah, obviously representing your country is something special. It was something on my list when I was a young kid. When I did turn pro, we'll say at 16 when I signed my first contract. But getting into those camps when I was 15, 16 years old, playing for the under 17s, it was something that you take a lot of pride in. And I think when you're younger, it's almost you want to kind of showcase a little bit that you're one of the better players at that age already, in the up and coming future for Canada. So it's something special. And I think as you get older, especially now with how the national team is looking, how the quality that the team has, it's even something more special that you want to be a part of, right? So for myself, being able to at least be a part of the team, be a part of some of those players that are going to be representing Canada now at the World Cup, and it was something special for myself, and obviously it's a goal for mine every year that I step on the field to hopefully get back and be a part of that group. But they're for sure doing a great job. I think we just have to continue riding the wave of how soccer is growing in this country. And it's obviously something that I take a lot of pride in, being able to represent the country when I was at the under 17, under 20, and honestly played a big part in my career, being able to go overseas. Obviously, playing very well in the under 17, having a good goal against Mexico, put my career kind of in trajectory up, right? So it's obviously played a big role in my career, and honestly, just very, very proud for myself for that.
And can you walk me back to that moment when you first got that very first call up of yours? Like, do you remember where you were and how you felt in that moment?
Yeah, it's crazy because a lot of my, not all, a lot of it, I would say all of my memories when I was a young kid is all involving my family. My parents have played such a huge role into getting me where I am today. At a younger age, like I said, I played soccer just because I loved playing it, and obviously you have people around you that tell you, okay, you're good enough, you can, pursue this, you can do that. But for me, it was growing up, I just played because I loved to play. And as I started to get a little bit older and I started to, people started to see me a little bit more, eyes are on it, I think you start to having to make bigger decisions in your life. And obviously at that young age, you kind of rely on your parents to help you out in those situations. So, just whether it was with the national team, whether it was, signing my first contract anywhere, decisions were always made with my parents, and I'm very, very lucky to have them in my life and to guide me in the right direction. But getting the emails that I would get, being a part of the under 17 group, the camps, the World Cup qualifiers, it was very exciting, just even now, just thinking about when I was sitting in my house and receiving those emails, being able to, share those moments with the people that helped me get where I am is a moment that I don't take for granted, and I know my family knows that, but it's a feeling that's hard to really explain, to people, even, younger kids that are striving for that. It's hard to explain that kind of feeling, but, being able to represent your country is obviously something that, everybody takes a lot of pride in.
And expanding on the international experience, so obviously you got to do the camps and various things. Do you want to share a little bit more about your time playing overseas and sort of the clubs, walk me through that and those experiences and how they've changed you as a person and a player? Yeah,
I would say both times that I've been able to go, play, first time in Holland and the second time obviously in Belgium, two different experiences. First time when I went to go play in Holland, I was, still a young kid, obviously having no experience going overseas and living in a different life, a different world, because that's honestly what it really is, right? Like I said before, it's really life over there. It's everybody understands that, everybody that lives there, it's a true way of life, being able to, support even just the fans itself, right? So when I was a young kid going over there, living with the family there, having to adjust to that was tough, to be honest with you, in the beginning. But like I said, I mean, the number one thing for me of why I started playing was just because I enjoyed it. So I think, once I kind of got adjusted to it a little bit, started to make a little bit of friends and get a bit more comfortable, things become a lot easier. And, at that young age, being able to create friendships that I'm still friends with a lot of my teammates at that time, it's something special for myself. I was kind of taught to, enjoy the moment, work very hard, but be appreciative for a lot of the things along the way. And obviously being able to have a lot of friendships, a lot of brotherhoods at that time, because at 16, 17, 18 years old, you're not with your friends in high school here. You're over there playing with, guys from different countries that are in the same situation as you. So it's for sure a different experience. But yeah, a lot of years there was something that I think I needed to kind of become a man, to kind of have that understanding of what it's like to be a pro. And then even my time at Belgium, obviously it was a little bit of an unfortunate situation with myself, with, even with COVID all around the world, obviously it was tough. But I'm a big believer that everything happens for a reason, right? So, it was how I was raised. It was how I was taught to just be on a day-to-day basis, be very appreciative of everything that comes your way. And like I said, just work hard. So, for sure, both of those kind of experiences have turned me kind of, into the man that I am now. And those experiences have taught me a lot of things and have taught me to appreciate the game a lot, right? There's a lot of different ways your career can go, right? So it's just about, accepting it and understanding what's in front of you and putting your best foot forward.
100%. I would say in football, there's lots of ups and downs, lots of adversity.
Yeah.
What would you potentially say is the hardest part or the biggest challenge you've faced in pursuing this dream?
These are good questions. I like this. I like talking about these things because I find that it's a whole nother side that many people don't talk about, many people don't hear about. It's the mental side of it. Everybody knows the injuries happen, which obviously it's nobody says that it doesn't happen, but the whole mental side of it as well, I think is a part that not many people talk about. And as I'm now getting older and I'm experiencing these things myself, you start to learn about it. You start to learn how to adjust to it, how to adapt to it, how to accept it and move forward and still deal with everything that comes in front of you, right? So I think, your career can be very different, right? You don't know exactly how your career is going to go, and you just got to kind of roll with the punches, any downs that come. And obviously the ups are obviously something special, you celebrate it and all of that. But I find for me, one thing that I've learned is just to try to do your best to stay in the middle, not get too high, not get too low, and appreciate it, because at the end of the day, we're very blessed to be doing what we do. And it's like I said, obviously it takes time for you to understand that, when you're at a younger age, you kind of see the whole world in front of you, and you want to be able to reach the highest of highs, right? But at the end of the day, everybody's career is different. Sometimes it doesn't really pan out that way, but you kind of adjust, you adapt to it, and at the end of the day, you're not the only one going through it, so that's something that I think needs to be spoken a little bit more about, that, being a professional athlete just in general is not all just roses. There's a lot of ups and downs that you have to go through, and to be able to still be positive and to still have that passion to, work every single day and even when the days are a little bit tough and physically you're not there. So it's a battle, but it's something that I'm grateful and I'm very appreciative for.
I appreciate you sharing all this with me. I think it's been a great discussion, but I would love to shift a little bit more into World Cup specific focus, because obviously it's such an exciting summer ahead of us. What would you say that your earliest memory of a World Cup is, and can you walk me through it?
Oh, this is tough, because I feel like I should say certain answers. But the World Cup, what was it? The Jabulani ball, what is that? The 2010? I don't know. I'm trying to remember the goal, the left foot. I just remember it was one of the first goals that in the tournament, left foot from the left back. Who was it? That went top corner. I'm just having that image in my head that I always just think about, obviously being a little bit, just being left-footed. I think it was a Dutch player, if I'm correct. But just growing up, to be honest with you, one thing that I feel like has kind of changed, I remember I used to go get those player card books with the stickers. Yes. When I was a young kid in elementary school, you would always have your friends. You guys go to the Dollarama or you go to the convenience store. You get the stickers. You want to be getting the best players, obviously, in the world. Mm. So it was, it's crazy. The World Cup, I think is something that everybody understands how big it is and how big of an event it is, but how it brings so many people together is something that's special. And I'm very, very excited to now see that Canada is going to be witnessing this and to be a part of it. It's and also Canada now having the team that we have, hopefully, being able to do something good is for sure exciting.
So in terms of growing up watching, which team did you support? Because obviously Canada's been in it more recently, but for the longest time we didn't have a team in it. So
Portugal. Yeah. My parents, especially my aunts are huge fans, obviously big Ronaldo fans. They don't like it when I say that I'm a Messi fan, but obviously when the World Cup comes on, you're supporting the country that you love. And at the end of the day, my father, there was no other way for it. You had to be supporting Portugal or no other, right? But yeah, for sure Portugal.
And did your family go all out, like flags on the cars, decorating the house, full support parties?
That's where my aunts come in. We used to have watch parties at their houses, and the whole family would come together, watch the games, and have the jerseys. You needed to bring a jersey. You had the flag supporting, whether it's on the hood of your car or have the flags in the windows. So for sure, a lot of support.
And I know you've already semi-touched on it, but in terms of the World Cup as a tournament in whole, what does this mean to you, both as a person and as a player as well?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I think just with soccer growing in Canada, I think this is the best time for it to be coming, right? I think obviously the league has been great, but I think having the World Cup here, I think will turn a lot of heads, have a lot of eyes on it, and hopefully gives people that understanding of how big this sport is, how much passion and love that there is for this game. And now, like I keep saying, on and on, and I'll keep saying it, is just that Canada is now a part of it now. You have world-class players on our team now, and it's something that, I think everybody in Canada should be proud of. You guys, you have players that are playing in the biggest clubs in the world. Soccer for me is the best game in the world. For me, it's the best sport. It's played worldwide. It gives so much joy to so many young kids, especially. And for Canada now to have this kind of generation that we have, and for them to be a part of it, and for them to be competing against the best players in the world, I think it's something that is very exciting. Me growing up as a young kid, when I'm watching the World Cup, you watch Portugal, you watch Brazil, you watch all these countries that are obviously the biggest in the world at it. But now you get to say, I'm watching Canada. I'm watching us compete at this, and it's something that's obviously. It's a great time to be a Canadian supporter in soccer. So I hope everybody has that understanding. I think when the time comes and everybody's here, I think that's when people will start to realize how big this event really is. So it's something that's very exciting. It's something that you can't take for granted too. Some people will go through their whole lives of not even being able to experience it. So we have it in our backyard now, and very excited for it.
So big question then, Canada or Portugal? Who are you supporting for the World Cup?
Gotta go with Canada. I gotta go with Canada. Gotta go with my guys. Some of them, especially if I got a friendship with some of them, and knowing them now, it's a different feeling now, and especially knowing what that would even do for Canada soccer, that would be great.
And then the biggest question of them all, who do you think is going to win the 2026 World Cup? Ooh, putting you on the spot here with this one.
This is tough. So obviously I want Canada to win. It's going to be tough. I think obviously if there's another team that not only what I want, but I think has a good chance is Portugal. I think they got players in top form right now, some that are the best at their position in the world right now, so I think they got a great chance.